Can we make delicious crispy chaffles? Let's find out right after this. So this week's chaffle recipe is 1 egg, 2/3 of a cup of mozzarella cheese, and then I've got some Parmesan cheese to make the chaffles crispy. We're going to start off with some garlic powder. That's half a teaspoon I have of that. Some onion powder, also half a teaspoon. We've got half a teaspoon of this fine Redmond's real salt. And then I've got a teaspoon of mustard seed. And then a teaspoon of this dill weed. So we're going to start mixing these all together in a bowl. I've got the 1 egg partially mixed up here. We're going to add the cheese first and get that mixed together. Now this week's recipe is going to make 2 chaffles. Now if I was to do this again, I'd probably cut back on the salt a little bit, maybe do sort of a 1/4 teaspoon. They were quite salty. Not that it made them taste bad at all, but they were quite heavy on the salt. So that's just an FYI. Now, of course, you can add any more of these seasonings or any less to suit your taste. So we'll put the garlic and onion powder in first. Then we're going to add in the salt. And then we'll add in the mustard seeds and get that mixed together. Now I did this recipe based on, some basic dill pickle seasoning recipes that I've seen online. There are other things that you might usually see in a pickling seasoning recipe, like coriander seeds. However, coriander is one thing that I don't like to eat at all, so I left it out. You, of course, could make these with whatever kind of recipe that you would like as far as dill seasoning goes. So we'll add the dill weed in here. Now, again, this is a dried dill weed. Of course, you could use a fresh dill in this, and I'm sure that would taste even better. But this is what I wanted to go with. So we'll give that a good mix. The chaffles turned out with a great green color, as you can see. And they weren't too hard to mix together. So we'll get that thoroughly mixed up, and then we'll get the dash minis warmed up, and we'll start cooking these delicious chaffles. Okay, dash minis are all warmed up here, and we're going to use this shredded Parmesan cheese to make these extra crispy chaffles this week. So we'll put down some of the Parmesan first. Again, this is an optional step. If you want to leave it out, by all means. I just like doing this because I really enjoy crispy chaffles. So now we're going to split up our mix into the waffle irons. Again, this is going to be enough to make 2 chaffles this week. We just want to evenly distribute the mix into the waffle irons here. Now I've got a video reviewing these Dash Mini waffle irons that I did a couple of weeks ago. These are the ones that have the removable plates. So if you want to check that out, I'll leave a card up in the corner so you can see what these are all about. I'm really enjoying using these ones. They do work just as well as the smaller ones, and they're a lot easier to clean. So we'll add some more of this Parmesan cheese on top of the chaffles because we want both sides to be crispy, obviously. So get that last bit of Parmesan cheese on there. And then we'll close up the Dash Minis, and we'll come back in 4 to 5 minutes when they're done. Okay, so our 2 chaffles are nice and crispy. We'll get them out, and we're going to set them aside on a wire rack to cool down a little bit so that they stay nice and nice and crispy. And they're far too hot to eat right now, so we'll let them cool just a little bit. And here's the final product. Again, they were quite salty, but the flavor was really good. I was really happy with how these turned out, with the flavor and the texture. So give these a pull. You can see that nice green color in the middle from the dill weed. They really did taste like dill pickle. So consider giving these a try. Let me know how you like them. Give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. And we'll see you next week. Keep on thriving, my friends.